In this exciting video, we're gonna rotate stuff. We're gonna be the spinniest spinners of Fortnite spinniness as we spin things. Okay, in reality, you really can't rotate things currently in Fortnite. They've kind of locked some things down, and I'm gonna show you how you can move things around. You're also gonna learn some code with the Verse programming language, and you're gonna learn how to rotate things and work with vectors, and you're going to learn how to work with gameplay tags so you can find items in your scene, pull them into your code, and do things with them. So let's get started. So we wanna rotate props, and that's what we're gonna be rotating is props. So let's just go find some props to rotate. I think I saw like a caterpillar in here. I type in plush, oh yeah, there we go, a little plush caterpillar. It's not very big. Let me make it bigger. I'm just here in a blank scene. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, he's gonna eat them. Okay, so we've got this caterpillar here, which clearly needs to rotate. But how do we get this thing to move around? Well, we didn't really get a whole lot of rotating options. We can animate things, but an animation is not really what we're looking for when it comes to rotating objects in our game. That's just silly. So what I want to do is make a new script, Verse Explorer. And then we're going to right click on our project, add new verse file, and we're going to call this item rotator, like so. Rotator. Okay, excellent, just create it there. I'm going to go to Verse, build Verse code, and then click this green button, this V, to open up a new Verse window, like so. And then we're gonna see our Verse file here. Now, we're not gonna make a custom prop in code because Epic Games does not allow it. How crazy is that? Like, I should be able to subclass the props. I should be able to say creative prop, but you know what they did? They specified their class as final. They don't want me to access the features of the prop. They want me to be able to make things spin on their own. So we got to do things our own way, unfortunately. So I have this idea that we have a system where we gather any items that we want in our scenes with tags, and those items we rotate. Okay, that's the best thing I could think of. You can do this for one device or many devices, but let's try and figure out the fastest way we can get something to spin. So what I want to do is keep this as a creative device, and I'm going to say var, and we'll just call this caddy for the caterpillar. So var caddy of type, and we're going to say creative prop, like so, equals creative prop, like so. And we'll make this at editable, like so. All right. So we're gonna drag this onto the editor in just a moment so we can, we can spin our little guy. Now, there are some things that we do get. If I control click on creative prop, okay, this is gonna show us some of the under the hood code, not the implementation, just kind of like the headers, what you have access to. And so we've got two options here. One is teleport to, and one is move to. The underlying things that I wanted to use, I'm not allowed to use. But this is what they've given us. Now move to, we'll do some nice smoothing in between, but it has some issues. And teleport just instantly moves something. So, how do you continually move something in a rotation? Well, we're gonna do both of those so you can choose for yourself which one that you want. Here's our caddy, and what I wanna do is loop around. So we're gonna do the first one where we teleport an object. So we're gonna loop around and teleport an object. But in order to do that, I need to have some type of game loop. So I'm gonna create a new method here, and we're gonna call this rotate prop. We'll just call it rotate prop for now. And it's going to take a prop as a parameter, and we'll call it a creative prop, like so. Void equals, it's not gonna return anything. And I'll put the block there just to make the squigglies go away. So I just want to rotate my caddy over and over and over again. And remember, we only have those two things available, right? Move to and teleport. So I could move it to a new rotation, but that's kind of a pain right now. I just want to keep spinning it over and over and over. And probably just on the z-axis, the yaw. It's called the yaw, okay? Yaw, pitch, and roll. So it's what airplanes do. So what do we want to do? We need a loop. So I'm going to make a loop like so, called loop. That's a functionality in Verse. And in this loop, I need to rotate my little guy. So let's, just for fun, let's try it. So let's say prop.teleport to, and it wants a position with a vector 3, and it wants a rotation. So it needs to know where it's going to be in the world, X, Y, Z, and it also needs to know what will its rotation be. Will it be upside down? Will it be sideways? And so we need to do some things to get that to work. So what I'm going to do is, let's get rid of this squiggly. I can't handle the squigglies. I just did Control / to comment that out. We'll get back to that in a moment. My squiggly's still there. So I'm going to say transform : prop.getTransform. Now, it doesn't like my loop. Oh, because it's infinite. Yeah, that's fine for right now. In fact, I'm just going to get rid of this for a moment. So prop.getTransform. A transform holds some data. I just control-clicked that. A transform is going to hold a rotation, a scale, and a translation. The position where it currently is and its rotation, okay? So we need to get that pre-built code that's underneath the hood there. The next thing we need is the position from that. So I'm gonna say position : transform.translation. That's gonna give us our position. And rotation : transform.rotation. So we're just grabbing those properties that are already there as part of the creative prop class. When it moves around, those things update automatically, and we're just grabbing them. That's all we're doing. We didn't do anything special. We're just grabbing stuff. Now what I need to do is move it into a new position. But if I just say position and rotation, if I just teleport to like so, it's just going to teleport me to the same spot that I'm already at, which is not what I want to do. I want to move it somewhere else. So how do we do that? Well, I'm going to make a variable. A variable can change, a constant cannot change. And a variable called new rotation of type rotation. I'm going to make that equal to the rotation that we pulled out of our transform, okay? Unknown identifier rotation, and that's probably because I need to import my math. So if we go up here to the top, we can say using UnrealEngine.com temporary, that's weird, temporary, spatial math. How do I know that it's there? It's because I just control click a lot of things. I control click this, it takes me somewhere, it takes me somewhere else, and then eventually I find it. That's all. So now it knows what's going on. It knows that it's a rotation. Okay. So we've got the current rotation and we want to modify it a little bit. How do we do that? Well, we are going to say new rotation dot apply yaw. Apply yaw. And it's going to want the amount we want to apply. I'll put 1.0 for now. Apply yaw. So on an airplane, you've got your yaw, your pitch. Go look this up. On the Google, look up airplane, yaw, pitch, and roll. And it'll show you some arrows that surround the airplane and which direction, which things move. That's all we're doing. We're just going to go around the z-axis, you know. We're going to apply yaw. Now, if we do this, it's only going to run once and a little bit, which is not what we want. We want it to run over and over inside of a loop. So now we can put our loop back. Loop : highlight all of this stuff here, press tab, all right? And then what we're going to do is we are going to add a little specifier here. So this little less than sign suspends, you know, the kind of thing that happened to you back in school all the time. Happened to me. Suspends, okay, because what's going to happen is we're going to kind of sleep. We're going to pause every so often. We'll explain that in a minute. We're going to suspend this, and then we're going to sleep. So I'm going to say sleep equals, let's say 0.1. Okay, so I totally didn't not finish my code after it all crashed, and then I ended up going to sleep and waking up the next day. That did not happen. But since we're here and I have better eyes, I noticed that we put in the wrong number here for the rotation. We're just going to put in 0.01 to get started. We're going to apply a little bit of yaw because this is going to be updating quite a bit. And then lastly, what we need to do here is actually just teleport. So we're going to say if prop.teleport to the position and the new rotation, and we're putting this inside of an if statement because teleport to can fail. All right, it has a decides, as you can see there on the notes. Decides, that means it can fail. And yeah, let's give it a shot here. Let's save this and see if our fat caddy actually rotates. So I'm going to go to my verse, build verse code. No compiler errors, that's nice. Let's go over here to our creative devices, and we've got an item rotator. In fact, on my right-hand side, I'm going to make a new folder here in the outliner. We're just going to call this game so I don't lose my objects. And I'm going to drag my new device here. And on the right-hand side, I'm going to right-click it and go to MoveTo Game. And there's our item rotator. Now, it's looking for caddy. Where's caddy? Caddy. Oh, we need to give you a new name. Can I rename you to caddy? All right, caddy. I'm going to click the drop down and select caddy. He's a prop already. If I was doing my own static mesh, I would need to have converted it to a prop first. But I'm going to select caddy. And yeah, let's just see if it rotates. Now, his pivot is here in the center, so I would expect him to rotate at some type of speed going like this. That's what I would expect, but who knows? Save it and launch session. Here we go, let's start the game. There we go. Oh, look at that, how cute. He's spinning. Let's go for a ride, dude. All right, caddy is rotating happily. How nice. Yeah, it's a little bit glitchy, but you know, it's doing its thing, and we're going kind of slow, so that's fine. Let's go back, end the game. So, back in our code, we sleep for a second, and then we do all this thing here. I think we should move the sleep to the bottom, Control X to cut, because we don't want to pause before we start even the first iteration. It wouldn't be noticeable, but it's better this way. And that's the yaw. So, if you wanted this to go faster, you could absolutely increase the yaw on here to make it spin faster. And you know, a couple of notes here, just for fun. We're kind of creating our own FPS, regulated frames per second. So really 0.01, that's the equivalent of 100 frames a second. Okay, if you take 1 and divide it by 100, you get 0.01. And then 0.10 would be about 60 frames a second. So those are normal. You know, that's very normal for systems to be able to perform at those levels, and we're regulating it here. So yeah, on a faster system, it'll go faster. So this is the number you want to change here is your yaw, and we could call this speed. Of course, you could also put this as an editable variable. But one thing to note is that as an editable variable, you have to rebuild your Fortnite every time, and that takes a long time. So it's surprisingly actually faster just to change your code, whereas in other game engines, you would always want to just do it in the editor. In Unreal, if we want to test it, we've got to do it in the code. So it's faster this way. So there's our speed, and it probably makes more sense to put that here. And so we could increase this to, let's say, 10 and rerun it. Unreal Engine, verse, build verse code, push verse changes, and he's going fast. Yay! Now you can make a little jumping game. If you get hit by it, you die. Oh, I just died. Anyway, so you can change the speed on it there. So let's just apply the roll and the pitch as well too. So this is a constant, and it's a constant because we don't have the var keyword. But if I want to mess with it again, it's not going to let me. So let's go ahead and turn this into a var, like so. var new rotation. Let's see here, colon equals, of type rotation equals rotation dot apply yaw. And then we can play with the other settings as well now. We can say set new rotation to equal, and let me just copy this here. We'll say apply, what do we want to do first? Roll, and then we'll do it again for the pitch. And we'll comment out one at a time. We'll do the roll first. And let's actually just do one at a time so you can see the different directions, okay? Apply roll. And the reason why I set this to a variable is so we can edit it again and again and again right here. So I'm going to save this. We're going to do the roll so we can see what the roll looks like. Push first changes. It's important you understand how these things work, even if we're just flipping around a fat caterpillar. All right, let's do the roll. What does roll look like? So he's rolling. He's like the earthworm from Beetlejuice. There you go. So he's definitely rolling, and he's rolling on his pivot. So just so you know, that's how that works. Wherever the 3D model, wherever the pivot is of that 3D model is where it's going to roll. That's fun. Let's go ahead and try the pitch now. Just change this to pitch, like so. Save it. Unreal Engine, Verse, build Verse code. You know the drill. Fortnite. Let's check out this, the pitch. Okay, so now he's going kind of like left to right. Yay. Okay, now you know. Now you're probably asking, hey Mark, what if I put all of them together? Can I do that? And of course you can. In fact, there's lots of complicated math with rotations far beyond my comprehension. And you can do all kinds of things with your rotation. So now we'll go ahead and change this back to yaw. Yaw. It's a Texas variable. And so we're going to do yaw, roll, and pitch all at the same time. So what's happening here is we are applying the first rotation, so it transacts. Okay, remember, it transacts. It operates in and of itself. It changes the variable itself. So it's changing it, and what we're doing is putting that into a new variable. And then what we're doing is the same thing here, taking the existing rotation, and we're going to apply in fact, what I should do here is we want to take that new rotation each time because we already grabbed the rotation from over here. So we're going to grab this rotation here, which is really just the same as this one at this point, minus the change in the yaw. And it's going to transact, and it's going to update it. It's going to transact and update it. So now we've got all three positions updated on here, okay? And the reason why we're not just setting random numbers inside of a new rotation all at once is because I need these functions, these operations to work their magic. I need them to apply the appropriate rotation using that complicated math that I don't know how to do. So that's what's going on there. And we'll go ahead and compile and run. It's a mad caterpillar. He's rotating in all three directions at the same time. He's going crazy. All right, so you totally can do that. All right, we're rotating all kinds of stuff. Awesome. And of course, you can change position as well too if you wanted to. You know, you could add a position to it, take it away. You can move it somewhere. You could fling caddy into space if you wanted. So that's cool. So we've applied yaw, roll, and pitch. These could all be variables that you store, you know, up here somewhere. You could, you know, pick the axis that you want to rotate on. In fact, we'll just do that here for fun. So we're going to say var rotate x type logic equals false. All right, and we're going to say var rotate y logic equals false. I'm going to say var rotate z logic equals false. You know, but let's just change this to let's say yaw, pitch, and roll, just to be consistent. Rotate, yaw, pitch, and roll. All right. I'm also going to make these editable. I'm also going to clean this up a little bit, so I can just put the editable in front of them. Just save some space, save some paper if I was to print this out. Okay. editable var, rotate, roll, logic, exciting. Now, we also know on here there's a speed, right? We changed the speed. So why not make that a variable as well too? Editable var, and so let's say speed of type float equals, we'll start off with 0.10, and we'll do that there. So we're not gonna edit these in the editor because I don't want to keep compiling, but later if you have a whole team that's working together, it might start making sense to have properties available in your editor like this, so it's more dynamic. Okay, so you can change it, your team can change it. Okay, so that's looking good here. We'll keep the sleep the same. I don't think that's something we should expose because it can go wrong. And now let's just, for fun, let's make these things optional, okay? So we only do the thing if we're supposed to do the thing, if that makes sense, okay? So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna comment these out so we get a red squiggly, so then we can put them back. And we're going to just do some programming logic to make this more flexible. So we're gonna say if rotate yaw equals true, okay, what do we wanna do? The same thing we did before. Let's say set, and we're gonna say new rotation. Well, we don't have that new rotation yet, so let's create that. You might be like asking, why am I not copying and pasting what I already wrote? It's good for repetition, and it's good for me to know that I've gotten rid of my errors and I've replaced things. So var new rotation, and we'll just make this the same as before of type rotation. We'll make that equal to the rotation that came from our prop, okay? Now, this is where we're gonna update it. So we're gonna set new rotation to equal new rotation dot apply yaw. And what are we putting in here? The speed. And because we don't need to do anything with the results, I'll put those empty curly braces in there, okay? So that's great. Now let's do this 2 more times for the roll and the pitch, okay? There's our roll, there's our pitch. So we'll say rotate roll, apply roll, rotate pitch, and apply pitch, like so. So now, if those are true in our editor, we'll just go ahead and set those on there so we can adjust them in the editor for later or for other members of our team, okay? So back to the editor, and I'm going to go ahead and say build verse code. Now if I click on my item rotator, you can now see what it's asking me to rotate. So I'm gonna just do the yaw only like we had before. The speed, you know, I can just say 1 point, just to make sure it's working, let's say 1.5, make it go fast. And I'm just going to go ahead and push changes. Here we go. Start the game. Let's see if he's turning fast. Yes, he is. Now, you may be saying to yourself, oh, that doesn't look right. Like, that's not good. Did I write some bad code? And no, you didn't. He's rotating too fast for us for the frames to track it all in there. So next what we're gonna do is we're going to do a smooth rotate. So I'm just gonna write this code here. And yeah, I'm gonna actually also make these this rotate prop private. It's good practice. Anything that you don't need other classes accessing, you want that to be private. And this is more like a utility function, which we only want to use inside this class. So we're gonna say smooth rotate. I'll also make this private. And it's gonna take a prop, the exact same thing, creative prop, and it's going to suspend as well, so it is going to freeze for us. And so I'm just gonna block that right there. Now, really we're gonna basically do the same thing, except a little bit different code. With MoveTo, it's actually going to perform an animation behind the scenes, okay? So if I grab, well, let's just get this going here and I'll explain it. So we're gonna need all of these right here, okay? We're gonna need these things right here. So I'm just going to paste them like so. Transform, position, rotation, okay? That's all we need right there. Now, we'll do a similar thing again. We'll just start with the yaw. So we'll say new rotation colon equals, and we're going to say rotation dot apply yaw. This time though, I'm going to say 180 degrees. Okay, 180 degrees. Not a small number that's repeated multiple times, but a full like half rotation. That's like an oxymoron. Full half rotation. We're gonna do a half rotation. 180 is like turning around like this. You ever like know people who are like, I'm gonna turn my life around into a 360 degrees, and I'm like, so you're going to keep on drinking? No. Anyway, so suspends. Okay. Apply yaw 180. Now, here's where things get interesting. So if I say prop.MoveTo, position, new rotation, okay? And then we'll go ahead and put in a 3.0 here, and I'll explain all this. So I'm gonna control click this, MoveTo. Move the creative prop to the specified position and rotation over the specified time. If an animation is currently playing on the creative prop, it will be stopped and put into animation not set state. So our MoveTo, okay, under the hood, they're doing some really fancy smoothing for us, which is really nice. I can't see their code because it's not publicly available, but just know that it's happening under the hood. Okay, so we put in the position that we want to move to, and the rotation, and the time we want to take to get there. Now, you could do this for moving platforms, you can move it around, you can move anything with this code here for your creative props. Pretty cool. Now, if I do this though, it's only going to rotate one time, okay? But it's like, wait a minute, how does this suspend if it's only gonna move the one time? Like, how does it even work? Well, MoveTo is a suspends, so what it's actually going to do is somewhere under the hood, it's going to wait, okay? It is going to do something that's asynchronous that makes us wait. So check this out. Whatever code we write here is not gonna be called for 3 seconds because this suspends, okay? If this didn't suspend, we'd be yelled at right now because we implemented the suspends modifier up here. So this is going to suspend for whatever time it takes to perform that animation. Just know, it's important because if you don't know that, you're gonna be like, why are things not working or the way they're supposed to? Why is my print statement not printing? It's because this suspends, okay? It suspends here. This is very important to understand. You spawn something that is going to await or suspend, okay? Spawn, rotate prop, this is being called here right now, and because we're calling sleep, it's suspending the program. And one more thing, if I was to call print like this, it would do spawn, start this process, and immediately print. This would not suspend, only what's inside of your spawn. This is going to just print immediately, okay? This is asynchronous. It's happening on a different timeline or thread, okay? Prop.MoveTo, 3 seconds. Okay, so we're moving, but it's only gonna do it once. Well, how could we make it do it a lot, right? This is gonna wait for 3 seconds. I just want to, to go over and over. Well, one thing you could do is we could just call the same function again. Smooth rotate. We'll take the prop that we got already from here and we'll just pass it back in. This is called a recursive function call. Okay? Actually, I don't need that. This is a recursive function. It's where a function keeps calling itself. Okay? Dude, I am really struggling spelling suspends. Suspends. Wow. Okay, so we're just going to call the function over and over and over and over again. And ideally, it's going to rotate along the yaw 180 degrees every 3 seconds. That means a half turn in 3 seconds, a full turn in 6 seconds. Let's give it a shot. Command save, control save. Oh, and we need to do the smooth rotate here. Like so. And save it. Let's see if it works. Verse, build verse code, push verse changes. Now that's nice and smooth. Look at him go. Wow. Ooh, so pretty, so smooth. Yes, very, very nice. Okay, So that's clearly working. You'll notice though sometimes it glitches. Did you see that glitch right there? Did you see a glitch? So this is one of the problems with doing it the way that we currently are, is we're not tapping into the animation quite properly. So we want to get rid of that glitch. So in case you thought doing a recursive function would work, it does, but there's some problems because this is an animation happening under the hood. They're doing some easing stuff. And we need to only call it again when we're ready to call it. Luckily, the MoveTo function provides a MoveTo result. We can actually know when it's going to be done. And anyone who listens to that result when it's done will be called. So this is really easy actually. We're going to say move result colon equals prop.moveTo like so. So it actually returned something. Yes, we were able to call it, but it actually returned us a move result. Now, at this moment in time, this is going to be empty. It's going to have nothing in it at all. Like no move result because it hasn't moved yet. We're going to wait for a future result. All right? So here's where we do that. We're going to say if move result equals move to result dot destination reached. What are we going to do? Well, at this point, now we'll call the function again. So if move result equals move to result dot destination reached, only start the animation again when it's reached its destination. Even though we were calling it right after this was done, it clearly wasn't cleaned up yet. There was like a frame or two in there where it like reverted back. It wasn't done. We were trying to force it to do something. Now we put it all in the right place. All right, I'm going to go to my project here and build it. Push verse changes. And now, there we go. All right, no glitching now. No glitching. Okay, there's our caddy. He looks real smooth, so plump and yellow. You almost just like think he's got cream filling inside. Just want to eat that little guy. Okay, it's moving real smooth, which is real nice. It also works great with faster speeds as well too. So that's over 3 seconds. Now in this case here, how you make it rotate faster is you decrease the time because it's calculating rotation over time. So if I wanted a half rotation in 1 second instead of 3 seconds, we could go and do that like so. Verse, build verse code, push verse changes. All right, spin, yes, spin my fiend, spin, go my Akuma, attack. All right, this looks good, looking good, yay. All right, so spinning is working. Now, how would you do pitch and yaw? You would do it the same way, all right? And you can do that here. You can, all this customization we did here, you can do that here as well too. Just know that over here on this manual entry here, we could make one axis spin faster than another. So we could have the yaw spinning faster than the roll. Over here, it's not so easy because we're animating over time the whole rotation. So whatever number that you want to multiply it by, 180, 360, 540, any number you want at all, it's still gonna have to perform it in that same period of time. So just know there's different things you could do with these different methods. Of course, if you want to look really pretty right out of the gate, use the smooth rotate function here that we created, like so. Pretty awesome, right? Now, I told you before that it's unfortunate that Fortnite does not let us subclass the creative device. Because if they did, what I would do is I would actually have this smooth function in a class, and then I would just, whenever I drag in props, I would just drag in my custom creative device, and then I have a little clicky button on my prop that would just turn on rotation. But you can't do that in Fortnite. They've locked it down. It's locked. They made it final. Okay, they made it final so we can't touch it. So, what's the next best thing we could do? And I think what it is in our editor, when we're placing objects, that we specify which things we want to rotate. So what we're going to do is work with tags. These are super awesome, and you can use them for so many things. So tags, what is a tag? A tag is simply a way to tag an object in the editor. And I'll show you the syntax right here. We're gonna say rotate on, colon equals, class, so we're making a new class called tag. Now, I could put this in a different file. Like later, if I had a huge project, I might have my own file that only has tags in it, a whole bunch of classes of tags. Since we're here, this is relevant, I'm putting it here. Now, it can't find tags because we're not using the library. So we say using verse.org simulation/tags. Okay? So here's our rotate on tag. What I want is objects in the editor, if they have the rotate on tag, they just rotate. That's all. Easy peasy, right? So rotate on tag. Excellent. I'm going to say var rotating objects. Okay? This is going to be an array. And just so you know, when we get the tags, we're going to get back a very particular type. And so I have to put that in here now, which we haven't covered yet. Creative object interface equals array. Now, an interface is really a set of rules that a class needs to implement. So you'll see that we have a creative device here, or rather that's not what we want, the creative prop. And if we click on it, it has a creative object above it, so we click that, and then we have the creative object interface. Okay, so it's like a child, a parent, a grandparent, and they all inherit the same properties. And so this is what it's going to give us back. It's going to give us like the grandfather back, the interface that's above it. So it is still a creative prop, but it's higher up, and that's what the code to find with the tags is going to give us. It's going to give us a creative object interface, still a creative object. Okay, and what we want to do is when the game first starts, we just want to get all of those objects. So we're going to say set rotating objects. Rotating objects, spelling wrong here. All right, and we're going to say get creative object with tag, and it's objects with tag, like so. And we're going to say rotate underscore on curly braces. So our tag up here is called rotate on. We're basically creating a new instance of that class here. Now this function here, get creative objects with tag, is a public function that comes from our devices, and it just is there for us to use. Hooray! So we've got our rotating objects. Now, instead of just calling rotate on our cat, on Catty, I'm gonna comment this out, we're trying to think big picture, you know? We want to grab anything that rotates, or that we want to rotate. So what we're gonna do is we are going to, in here, I'm going to make a new block. And I'm going to say, and the reason why I'm doing block is just so I can indent it and show that, hey, this is a block of code I want to separate. We're going to say for each obj, that's my variable name, in rotating objects. So I'm going to go through my array of rotating objects. What do I want to do? I want to say if prop colon equals creative prop obj. So let's talk about this for a second. So for each obj, that's my variable, so it's going to go through, it's going to loop through our array of all these objects. If we had 1,000 objects that we put tags on, it's going to loop through 1,000 of them. And then what we do is we say if prop, so this is our new variable name, okay, we're calling it prop. And what I'm doing is I'm casting, okay, when I type in this class name here, creative prop, all right, the one that we have up here, to cast from a parent class or an interface, you use the square braces and you put the object in there. So rotating objects right here, look what we're getting back. We are getting back a creative object interface, okay? We can't do the things we want to do with it. We can't move it or rotate it. That doesn't have that ability for us. That's the grandparent. This is the grandparent. So what we have to do is convert that grandparent object. Okay, we have to say, hey, let's convert it into the grandchild. Let's see if we can convert it. Now, if we can't, it would fail. If we had a different class that inherits from creative object interface, and it wasn't a creative prop, this would fail, and that's okay. That's what this code's for. So what we're saying, again, is convert the objects here in rotating objects, convert them to a normal prop, our creative prop, so we can actually do something with it. All right, there's our loop. Now what we'll do is we'll spawn, and I'm going to say smooth rotate, and we're going to pass in the prop, like so. Let's delete these. So smooth rotate our prop, like so. That's it. Loop, spawn. So for each object that we want to spin, it's going to create a new asynchronous function call. So spawn, smooth, rotate. If we had 100 objects, okay, it's going to call this function 100 times. Okay, it's going to add this function onto the call stack 100 different times, and each of these are going to operate on that object. That's the best thing I could think of without Epic Games allowing us to subclass the creative device, is we just do it like this. Now, that's pretty cool. We're going to rotate all of that stuff. And just to keep things clear for right now, what I would like to do is just comment out the things that we don't need at the moment, like so, because I really don't want to confuse anybody. All right, so I'm going to comment all of this out as well too, just for the time being, to make sure everything is ship shape. Okay, it looks good. Now I'm going to go over here to the editor, go to Verse, build Verse code, make sure there's no errors, and there's not. Okay, this is where things get really, really exciting. All right, so in your Fortnite folders here, let's go to our props and just find a few cool things. Let's see if we can find a car. Oh, ice cream truck, that's even better. Okay, let's get rid of this. Let's do the ice cream truck and the prefabs. Oh, look at his head. Excellent. We're going to take the robot's giant head. Ooh, this is like Galactus. So we're going to put this feller way up here. Okay, so we've got Caddy, we've got our ice cream truck, we've got the giant floating head, which is awesome. His name's Rob, by the way. Oh, there we go. Spooky dolls, yes. Okay, this is great. Let's put the spooky doll banana here. I'm going to scale it by pressing R. Let's make this banana so big. Oh, this is so good. All right, excellent. Yes, Mr. Banana. And how about a spooky little cat thingy? We'll bring this one real close because he's just a cute little guy. And let's make him big. Okay. And, you know, just for good measure, let's see if we can find a tree. Okay, so there's our little array of objects here, okay? Our exciting thing. Now get rid of the spawn pad here. Just make this player character face all of our new friends. Oh, this is so exciting. Now what do we do? If we want to rotate all of these objects with our code, what should we do? Let's make sure our item rotator, that's great. Okay, so we're going to select an object, okay, like so. And over on the right-hand side in the details panel, click add. And if you scroll down, you're going to see verse tag markup. Click that. And now, dun da da da, in the tag section here under gameplay tags, see a drop down and rotate on. Ooh. Let's do the same for the tree. Click the tree, add. I can just filter now for tag, edit, rotate on. So let's get the cat. Verse tag markup, edit, rotate on. Caterpillar, add, tag, verse tag markup, rotate on, and our truck, which seems to have lights and all kinds of exciting stuff. All right, let's go ahead and add a tag, verse tag markup, edit, rotate on. So there we go. We've added tags to all of these things. And before we run it again, let's look at our code just for fun, make sure it's all good. So rotating objects, what we do is we get them all in the map on begin. So anything with that tag that we just tagged, we're gonna find them. We're gonna loop through them, but we have creative object interfaces. So we need to cast each one into a prop and then spawn the smooth rotate function for each one. Will it work? I don't know. Maybe one is a little too long. Let's go back to 3 seconds for these things. Save it, and let's run it. Start spinning. Wow, look at them. How cute. They're just spinning around. Oh, yes, yes, yes. So nice. So very nice. Okay, so we've got some spinning stuff here. That is pretty cool. Yeah, the tree's struggling. Okay, you know, you're going to be working with some objects here. Trees aren't supposed to spin, right? Like, you know, some things struggle. Some complex objects like this ice cream truck, it may glitch and do weird things because it's highly complicated. There's other pieces and things on it. You know, simpler things are gonna spin better, you know. Work with what you got, but this is pretty cool. Really awesome stuff we're doing here, spinning. The possibilities are endless at this point now that you know how to do that. Now, if you have found that any of this is super complicated, like the code, and it makes you want to cry, and you really wanna learn how to code, then you need to watch this video here where I go in depth on the programming of the Verse language and how to use it with Fortnite. Way longer than this video, covers way more things, and you should watch that right now. I'm Mark Wahlbeck. See you next time. And subscribe.